Welcome to The Explainer. We're in this incredible moment where new AI tools are promising to completely change how we work. But for researchers, that power comes with a huge question. How do we use it without breaking our most fundamental ethical promises? That's what we're going to figure out today. Let's dive in. So here's the big question, isn't it? Can these tools actually make our lives easier while also making our research safer? It seems like a paradox. But the good news is, the answer is a huge yes, but only if we're smart and deliberate about how we do it. And that's exactly what we're here to talk about. Okay, so here's our game plan. First, we're going to ground ourselves in the foundations of ethical research, the stuff that never changes. Then we'll look at how AI really complicates things. After that, we'll get super clear on a few key concepts for protecting data, and finally, we'll get into a practical toolkit you can start using right away. Right, so before we even get to the shiny new AI tools, we have to start here, with the foundation. These are the core principles that have guided good research for decades, and honestly, they are completely non-negotiable, no matter what new tech comes along. I mean, we've all been there, right? You finish your interviews or your focus groups, and you're just staring at this mountain of audio files. You know it's going to be hours and hours of just tedious transcription. And this exact pain point is why AI transcription tools look so good. They promise to just make that mountain disappear. But before we hit that upload button, we have to pause and remember our duties. These principles, they aren't just suggestions on a checklist. They're the absolute bedrock of our work. We're talking about doing no harm, getting real informed consent, and especially maintaining confidentiality and protecting our participants' data. And these become even more important the second we bring a powerful new tool into the mix. So, what actually happens when these timeless rules run up against the brand new reality of cloud-based AI? Well, this is where things start to get a little tricky. This really gets to the heart of the problem. You've got this incredible convenience on one side. Upload an audio file, get a perfect transcript back in minutes. But on the other side, you have this fundamental, unbreakable duty to protect your participants' data. And you have to realize, the moment you send that raw audio to some service in the cloud, you are potentially exposing sensitive, identifiable information. And look, this isn't just about feeling good ethically. This is a serious legal issue. Major privacy laws like GDPR over in Europe, CCPA in California, or HIPAA for any health data here in the US, these regulations have teeth. They have very strict rules about handling personal data, and getting it wrong can have huge consequences. So we absolutely have to get this right. All right, to solve this puzzle, we have to get really precise with our language. The whole solution really hinges on understanding the difference between two key ideas: anonymization and pseudonymization. They sound kind of similar, I know, but believe me, in the eyes of the law, they are worlds apart. So let's start with anonymization. Think of this as the gold standard. This is when you process data so thoroughly, you're stripping out names, specific places, any little detail that could identify someone, that it is basically impossible to trace it back to a real person. Once data is truly anonymized, it's not even considered personal data anymore, and a lot of those tough data protection rules just fall away. Now contrast that with pseudonymization. This is different. Here, all you're doing is replacing an identifier, like swapping out a person's real name for something like participant A. But, and this is the crucial part, you still have a key somewhere that links participant A back to the actual person. Because of that link, re-identification is still possible. And that means, legally, the data is still personal data. You see, this one distinction changes everything. If your data is genuinely anonymized, you're usually in the clear to use those handy cloud-based AI tools. But if it's only pseudonymized, you are still handling personal data, which means you can't just upload it anywhere without getting very specific, explicit consent. And that is a massive difference in your workflow. Okay, so we get the principles, we see the risks, we understand the key terms, so what do we actually do? Let's get practical. It's time to open up the AI Research Toolkit. The first part of the solution is actually pretty straightforward, which is great news. It all comes down to picking the right tools for the job, specifically tools that are built to respect your data from the very start. And the real game changer here is the new wave of powerful offline transcription tools. We're talking about apps like NoScribe, Atran, or Buzz. These programs run entirely on your own computer. They use your local machine's power to do all the work. The key thing is, your sensitive data never, ever leaves your device. The benefit here is simple, but it is so powerful. By keeping that whole process offline, you stay in complete control. You totally sidestep the risk of shipping personal data out into the cloud. You get all the speed and efficiency of AI, but without that scary ethical and legal baggage. Now, technology is only half the solution. The other half is all about people. It's about rethinking the agreements we make with our participants so we can build a relationship on actual trust. We all know about informed consent forms, right? But let's be honest, sometimes they can feel a bit one-sided, like, just sign here so I can do my research. A much better way to think about it is as a confidentiality agreement, which frames this as a mutual contract. It's a huge shift in mindset from you need to agree to my terms to we are making a promise to handle your data with care. So what does a great AI-aware agreement look like? Well, it's transparent. You actually name the specific AI tools you're using. You get into the details of how you're protecting the data. You could say something like, all transcription will be done using the offline tool Buzz on an encrypted hard drive. And you also have to be clear about what happens to the data when you're done. This turns a simple permission slip into a real contract built on respect. At the end of the day, this isn't about finding clever workarounds or legal loopholes. It's about a real shift in our whole approach. It's about building a relationship of genuine trust and mutual respect with the people who make our research possible in the first place. And that really leaves us with one final crucial question to ask ourselves. As you start bringing these amazing new AI tools into your work, take a hard look at your process and ask, is your consent form just a checkbox that needs to be ticked? Or is it a real contract, one that's built on transparency and respect? Because getting that part right, that is the true key to unlocking the power of AI, both ethically and effectively.